Lately, everyone's complaining about AI slop. And yes, that is definitely a thing, but if you use AI the right way and you put a little bit of effort into your concepts and your processes, then you can still put together some really awesome videos that people genuinely enjoy. In this video, I'm going to show you the step-by-step process that we use at BAD to create AI videos that are performing very well both as ads and also as organic content. We'll go over the entire process from figuring out a concept to arriving at your final product with a big focus on maintaining consistency with reference characters and frames. Let's dive in. To start off, here is an example of the kind of content that we're talking about here.
Get him! Get that churro guy! Get him!
When I first met Captain Latin America, all he wanted to do was save grandmas and sell delicious churros online. But his business was struggling, bro.
I have to sell more churros!
Let's see, I think that video ended up with like 30,000 views. Let's see what we got on that bad boy. Yeah, 27K. So for an ad, that's not too shabby. And it also converted very well when we ran it as an ad. So here's how we do it. So most of the work that we do is going to be in Google Labs. The two tools that we're using are Whisk and Flow. Whisk is just an interface through which you can use Nano Pro, and Flow is an interface through which you can use VO3. So basically, Whisk is your image generation, Flow is your video generation. And if you have like a Higgsfield subscription or some other aggregator of different AI tools, you can use those too. They will have Nano Pro and VO3. Like, those are everywhere. These are just the ones I like to use. I find them to be super intuitive. Step one is doing the boring stuff that you have to do to set yourself up for this to actually be good in the end. I think what separates our videos from a lot of the other stuff out there is that there's a cohesive story and they actually look really good. And that's because of the process we use, which we're gonna go over here in a second. Before doing anything else, we always make sure to tick these 4 boxes. First is, what do we want to say? So in our case, usually that's, what is this an ad for? What's the underlying message here? Second is, what is going to happen? Third is, who are the characters? And fourth is, what is the hook? What is the hook is in all caps, because that is very, 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 very important, especially since this is AI. If you don't have a killer hook, ain't nobody watching. And one other thing that I always try to keep in mind when I'm in the brainstorming phase is, how achievable is this idea going to be? Some ideas are just going to be hard to pull off. For example, I had this hook that I was trying to do where I wanted to have this old lady crossing the street, and then I wanted to have Captain Latin America here swoop in from the side of screen and save her at the last second before the taxi hit her, and that was going to be the hook. I could not pull that one off. I tried for a very long time, and we just kept getting variations of more or less this. I have like 100 of those. So always be thinking about whether your ideas are actually achievable or not. Complex interactions are very hard. Very specific movements are difficult. It tends to be a lot better to keep things broad, be a little bit general with your prompts, and kind of let the AI fill in the empty space, as opposed to being hyper specific and having a 100% certain action in mind that you want to see. It's best to just kind of let the AI figure it out. Okay, so step 2 is writing the script. I keep up really detailed notes of the description for each scene and each shot that I want to have, any character dialogue. And then I also have a panel here for the storyboard, which we are going to get into later in step 4. Okay, so step 3 is creating your character references. And basically what you're doing here is you're just going to create a reference image of your characters that you want to have in your video on a white background. And what this does is it allows you to have character consistency throughout all of your scenes. Here's a sample prompt. This is the prompt that I used to create this gorilla here. So generate an image of a gorilla wearing an oversized brown suit that looks like it's from the 80s, light yellow tie. He's wearing a pair of sleek black shades. He's tall, his hair is black and combed back. He has one golden streak running through it on the right side. Show his full body in the frame. He is facing the camera and standing against white background. And that's how I got this guy. So let's try to make this guy real quick. So we're going to hop into Labs, and we're going to go into Whisk. And I'm just going to drop this prompt in here. A couple of settings things to note. You can change your aspect ratio. I usually do these 9:16 just because it gives you more height for your characters. And Whisk is fast. It's nice. You can spam it too. You can do 6 generations at a time, and you'll have them in a matter of seconds. So let's see what we get. That one's pretty good. Oh yeah, by the way, this is the prompt I just dropped in. Generate an image of a Bigfoot wearing green glasses with no lenses, a thin gold necklace, and a gold watch. Show his full body in frame. He's facing the camera and standing against a white background. And these are the ones it gave me. And I mean, that's pretty much what I want. So I like this guy. Let's save him. And let's move on to the next step, creating our storyboard images. We should have now a really good idea from step 2, exactly what we want to have happen in our video, as well as all the character dialogue. So what we're going to do here in step 4 is we are going to create basically a shot list, a storyboard for each scene from your script. So you go through your script scene by scene and create the first frame of each scene using Whisk. If there's movement, sometimes you want to do the last scene too. 90% of the scenes that we're making are created by doing this, by using reference frames. Sometimes we need to use text prompts or ingredients instead, which I'll go over, but really it's almost entirely by creating these reference scenes. This is an example of the prompt that I basically use for all of these vlog style videos, and we're gonna use that. So tight shot, eye level with the blank, that's the subject. Their arm is outstretched to the side of the frame like they're talking. So let's jump in and let's do that. So I'm gonna drop this prompt in here. And let's just run through a couple things here with Whisk that you will want to know. So over here, you have 3 little panels that you can put stuff in. You've got your subject, your scene, and your style. So your subject is this guy. That's who you want the main character to be in your shot. The scene is basically the environment in which they are. So if you have like a predetermined world that you want them to be in and like props arranged in a certain way, you'd put that in your scenes so that you're able to maintain consistency. And then your style is like the art style. So say you wanted to be comic booky looking, then you could upload a reference image of a comic book and it'll generate in a comic book art style. By default, it's more of a hyper realistic style, which is mostly what I use. Haven't really needed to deviate from that too much. And I'm gonna drop this prompt in here. So ultra tight, eye level shot with the subject. Their arm is outstretched to the edge of the frame like they are taking a selfie. So that's the prompt from the slide. And then this is where you can, after that, talk a little bit about what you want to be happening. So I want our Bigfoot to be like a lumberjack walking through the forest with an axe. So they're walking through a forest carrying an axe in their visible hand, wearing flannel and jeans. Their other arm reaches towards the camera and disappears out of the edge of the frame, getting blurry as it gets closer to the camera. And I mean, boom, look at that. Sometimes you'll get that where it doesn't realize that the perspective is supposed to be from the camera that he's holding. So you get a picture of him holding the camera. So there's some trial and error. That's why it's nice that you can just spam until you get what you want. I really like this one. Here's what we're gonna do. We are gonna do a little bit of tweaking to get this exactly how we want it. So I said earlier, I believe I said 95% of the work is done in Whisk and Flow. Well, that remaining 5% is Photoshop. So sometimes you just gotta do a little bit of manual tweaking to get exactly what you want. And what I want is to not have that phone in the picture. Look at that. Let's clean out that. Some little lens flare situation I don't really want, or a reflection of some sort. Yeah, sure, that's fine. Okay, so that's step 4. You do that with every scene on your storyboard. You get all of your reference images, and then you move to step 5, the fun part, generating the videos. So with Flow/VO3, you can generate videos using the storyboard images as your reference frame. Note, this is a lot of trial and error. You're gonna get some weird stuff. This is AI, it's part of it. Simple scenes may only take a couple of generations, but more complex ones could take dozens of generations and a lot of fine tuning. Here's just a little example. So this is a scene that I did with a start and an end frame. I wanted to have our gorilla CEO guy here start standing with our company logo above his head. So like he's the CEO of our company and he's walking around his office, but then he's talking and he goes and he sits down, and the sitting down is the end scene. So here's what we ended up with.
When I first met Captain Latin America, all he wanted to do was save grandmas and sell delicious churros online. But his business was struggling, bro.
Pretty cool, pretty cool. Anytime we're doing this selfie style, I start my prompt with this. The blank is walking or sitting. So the subject is walking or sitting while taking a selfie video. Their arm stays stretched toward the edge of the frame. The camera moves up and down naturally with their movement. And then we put like whatever they're gonna say and any actions that they're doing below here. So let's jump into Flow. A couple of things to note about the Flow interface here. So you've got a couple of different options. You've got text to video. So text to video I don't use as much. I only really use it when I don't have anything super specific that I want, or if I like don't have a character that I want to reference in my video. Back in the earlier days of VO, when you were seeing all these stormtrooper and guerrilla videos, that was because we only had text to video at the time. So in order to create character consistency, people had to create easily replicable characters like a stormtrooper. You couldn't have a human being because it would look different every time. And you couldn't have really detailed characters because it wouldn't get the details right because you didn't have the ability to do character references. So text to video is like the old school way. It's a little more general. Like an example of text to video would be this hook here.
Get him! Get that
Of these ice guys jumping out of the ice truck. I didn't really care exactly what they looked like. I just needed some big boys falling out of a truck. So I just asked for that. Frames to video is most of what we do, and that's what we've been going over in this video. Ingredients to video is kind of like a combination of text to video and image to video. So you can upload ingredients. So if you have like the label that you want to put on a bottle, it's really good for product videos. You can upload images of elements that you want included in the video, but it's not as precise as a reference frame. You're able to kind of like pick where you want them to be. A good example of ingredients to video would be this video. So basically I wanted to have this Bigfoot crash his car into a Hooters, but it kept getting flagged, funnily enough, not for the Hooters logo, but for violence, because I wanted him to be crashing his car. When I tried to do a reference image, it was flagging it. But if I used ingredients to video, it didn't get flagged. So I threw the Hooters logo in, I put my gorilla in, and got this.
Whoops, well, we just crashed into a Hooters a little bit. Let's go get some chicken wings, I guess.
Anyway, for the most part, I like to use frames to video. A couple notes over here on the settings. You can change the aspect ratio. You can change your outputs per prompt. So if you want to go one at a time, you can do that and save a little bit of money. Or I always do 4 at a time because we have a lot of credits and it takes a lot of tries to get it right. So you have a couple of different options for which model to use. I always use fast because if you see here, fast costs 10 credits. Quality costs 100 credits. So you burn through your credits 10 times as fast. And to be honest, I have not been able to tell a difference between the two. So let's generate something with our lumberjack. The Bigfoot is walking while taking a selfie video. Their arm stays stretched toward the edge of the frame. The camera moves up and down naturally with their movement. He says in a deep bro voice, and that's my prompt from the slide. I pretty much start all of these selfie style videos with that. He says in a deep bro voice, "What's up? I'm just walking around the woods here looking for the perfect Christmas tree, bro. Gonna light that baby up, get it looking real pretty. You know what I'm saying." If you want an in frame, you would put it there. Okay, so just a couple of things to talk about real quick while these are generating. So one is write for your character. So if you want to have your character be like a bro, write your lines for them like he's a bro. So what's up? Looking for the perfect Christmas tree, bro. Gonna light that baby up. You know what I'm saying? If you throw a "you know what I'm saying" at the end and a bro in there, like they're always gonna sound like a bro. Another example of this is we did a video where we wanted to have a French character. And if you just wrote out his lines and told it to give him a French accent, it didn't really do it. But if you threw in a "oui oui" and a "allez allez," then and instead of "the," you typed out "z" for every time he said "the," then he started to sound French.
What's up? I'm in the Louvre and I'm about to steal a big crown.
That's one tip. And then the second tip is these videos are always 8 seconds long, at least when you're generating in Flow. So try to write your lines to be about 8 seconds long. If there's not enough, like if all I said was "what's up, I'm just walking around the woods here," it would try to space that out to be 8 seconds long, and he would talk really slow. And same goes for if it was too long, he would start to talk really fast and the words would get garbled up because there was just too much that you were trying to cram into one scene. So if you do have more that you needed to say, just do it over the course of multiple scenes and then cut them together in the edit. Anyway, so let's see what it came up with.
What's up? I'm just walking around the woods here looking for the perfect Christmas tree, bro. Gonna light that baby up, get it looking real pretty, you know what I'm saying?
So yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty much our whole process. You just do that for all your scenes and edit them together and you're done. Let's let him be our CTA.
What's up? I'm just walking around the woods here. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. Be sure to like and subscribe.